cap at 200, right?
Okay.
At admin tech 1, with 2 foods, your cap is 300. At admin tech 3, with 3 foods, food types now, of course,
Fair enough.
your cap is 500. Admin tech 5, with 4 food types, your cap is 800. Admin tech 7, which I believe that's what you're at.
No, I'm at 6.
Okay, so that would be past 5.
I'll be at 7 in a few years.
So for admin tech 6, again, 4 types. Do you have 4 types of food?
I probably do. Let's see. I have potatoes.
Okay, check the box.
I
Keep
also
going.
have peaches, fish, grain,
Check the box.
honey.
Whatever, stop the grain. Boom. 4 foods, right? And you're past admin tech 5, which means your cap is 800. Are you over 800?
I'm Ming, so I start off with over 1,000.
Mings. I don't want to make you. I don't want to say bad things about you, but I've seen player Mings all the time, and it's a valid question to ask a player: are you over 800?
I'm sitting on 1221.
Unless that player was like Cac or me.
Just carefully wording.
So 121. All right. So 121. That would be plenty of room for you to develop. Then you should get events if you're only 121 development.
Really?
You just said you were 121, right?
1221.
1221. Ah, yeah. Well, then you won't get any events. And furthermore, since you don't fit the shoe for, as I call it, owner has food for growth, that means you shouldn't be able to manually develop either. Because the manual development is like a double-edged sword. You have a little bit more constriction there. You have to have the food for growth, which follows what I just explained to you. But additionally, you have independently your admin, your depot, and your mill tech looked at for your base tax, your base production, and your base manpower, corresponding to each of the 3 techs. So if you are like, I'm going to be that player that's really mill teched up, but fuck the admin, well, you're not going to get any base tax, so good luck paying for the army. Manual development for you.
First pick.
Things that make you go,
So
do
at
you
what
want to know
point
how the manual development goes? Do you want to know how that goes? Well, I'm in here in the file right now. Yes or no?
Sure. So the people that are listening, because I'm recording now, can hear when I post this to YouTube.
Inside tip.
Oh man, you're gonna edit it. Make sure to edit it.
Edit? No. How do
Inside tip.
How do I edit?
It's gonna be like raw and stuff. All right. So anyway, for the text, this is how it works, right? Manual development. You got, and I'm gonna give you just the admin, but it works the same for the depot and for the mill.
Okay.
But the admin at admin tech 0, which Ming doesn't start at 0.
I don't think anyone starts at 0.
Right. You're capped at 4 development. Just for the base tax. At admin 1, that's going to go to 5. Admin 2, 6, 3, 7, 4, 8. You can see the pattern has an offset of 4, basically. All the way up. It follows that same offset until you reach 610, actually. Then we go from admin 7 is 12, 8, 14, 9, 16. And we're going to progressively increase here. 10 is 18, 11 is 20, 12 is 22, 13 is 24, 14 is 26, 15 is 28, 16 is 30. I'm going to stop there for a moment. I'm going to skip to the end, which is going to be literally the end of your admin, which is admin tech 54, which caps out at 196. Yes, I still apply a cap, which means you cannot manually develop past 196. I want to, more importantly, go back to the 30, which is admin tech 16, and really bring this home to understand what this means. It may seem like that's a big, harsh limit, but that's just 1 out of the 3. So if you were literally 16 admin tech, 16 dippo tech, and 16 mil tech, 16, 16, 16 as a country, that means you are limited to 30, 60, 90 total development. 30 admin, or 30 base tax, 30 base production, and 30 base manpower, which is really not that bad. That's like 100 development.
At that point, you're never going to waste monarch points to develop it that high anyway.
Right. Exactly what I'm trying to bring home. So, like, if you're like, oh my God, grr, I can't develop. So really, it's the people who aren't patient in the beginning. It progressively increases. And you know what? You can't develop. So you can still put it towards tech. And you're like, well, I don't want to spend the extra cost because of the institution. Oh, well, then wait for it. The AI is changed up a little bit.
Through Asia. Yes, that sounds like a great idea.
The AI has been changed up a little bit. I think a lot of players got to see that. And that change happened actually because of the player feedback that I got playing multiplayer. And a lot of players have the notion that the AI fucked up their country. Who hasn't said that before, right? Quote, the AI messed up my country, blah, 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 blah. Everything's always the AI's fault. But regardless, you know what? The AI, I really put huge financial responsibility expectations on. No more messing up, Mr. AI. So when the player comes back, no more seeing their country in 20,000 debt because you wanted to embrace, which they would have done themselves, and they don't understand that. And they don't understand that a whole country next to them embracing ahead of time brings it to them faster. But that's all right. We're going to make sure that you don't embrace and are more fiscally responsible so they never see you in any bit of debt. To the fact that I forced the AI not to take out debt unless, and this is the impeding condition to keep in your mind, the AI will evaluate how are my neighbors doing. So how far do they go? It depends on how deep they are behind. You might see that the AIs are more willing to go behind than ever before. Quite frankly, right now, I'm not that far behind if I look at the current game we're in. I mean, I'm not like the player, which happens to be who's playing here, Phantom Mask. He's like the most advanced nation probably right now, besides there's one that's competing with him, but he's like a 5.56, right? I'm a 5.45. I'm not that bad, but you look in tech map mode, I don't look great. I'm like orange, he's green. I'm not even yellow, for goodness sakes. France is a little mustard. He's a 5.45, same tech. I don't know. Mine looks more orange. But then you got England. It's 3.44. Castile 3.34. Right? Castile's 3.34, mind you. Muscovy's a 4.46. So they're going to be more conditional awareness. Whereas like Poland's 3.34, they're looking at their neighbors. They're looking at their economy. They're looking at a lot more things that maybe that they didn't look at before.
That's what a human would do. Like compare the neighbors.
Yeah, using the ledger.
Right. So with the neighbors, if the neighbor takes it, they might go to debt. So right now, the player Phantom Mask, he's like nice and green. So now the neighbors that all red around him, they're considering more of a chance to take on the debt, to embrace something. If they haven't embraced it, this way that they don't pay a higher tech cost so they can rebound and catch up to him. That's what they're now considering. However, if they're closer in tech, and they're going to look at this based on embracement tech discount. That's how they're going to look at it. So if they're closer in tech, they won't have a discount. Right now, my discount is -5, -10, -5. So I'm 5.45 and he's 6.55. So that player actually is giving me an admin discount, whether he realizes it or not. He's paying a higher price and making it cheaper for me in admin monarch points, whether, again, he realizes it or not. Most players don't focus on this, but he's making it cheaper for me to tech up. He might say, woo, look, I teched up and you're not. And I'm at the bank saying, okay, well, I saved the monarch points and you're not. What's your point? But, the AI is now going to do this, so they're going to be more fiscally responsible, whereas before, the base game, the developers made it to be more challenging, where they're more in that mindset, I think, where I would like to argue the player naturally is, but the player doesn't see that the AI is just being more like a player and just criticizing when they come back to their country with debt. But all they're doing is they're trying to say, let me embrace right quick so I don't pay the price so I can tech up faster than everybody else. But now they're going to do that a little bit slower. Everything's going to be slower so that they're not going to pay the price.
Not to put a dent in what you're saying, I don't think the player would pay that much debt for an institution, especially with the interest.
It depends on the player. True. It depends on the player and what they're doing. So like with Benny, for example, they played Ming. I don't know if you paid close attention to him, but when he was playing Ming, I know you didn't. You weren't in the game. But when he was playing Ming, he didn't like that feeling. Like he was messaging me constantly, and a lot of it was about the development. Like, why can't I manually develop? This is crap. His big go-to strategy was, let me manually develop, right? So I can embrace faster, right? So that I don't pay the higher tech cost, and then I tech up, rather than just tech up at the higher tech cost. Nobody wants to pay the expensive tech cost. I get it. But he was finding he couldn't do that because he's already a huge nation. And then by design, because he's a huge nation, he has to pay a pretty hefty embracement cost. And when he was finally getting it over there, he paid that cost. The only difference is how he paid it and the fact that he knew about it, not coming back to it and finding by surprise that he has debt and just taking a moment to think about why he might have. Instead, he already knows he has debt because he's the one that did it. Maybe it's not as much because that's now just getting nitpicky. Do I embrace it when I'm only 20% where the country provinces have already got it in them? Or do I embrace it when I'm 80%? Or do I embrace it midway at 50%? The more I wait it out, the cheaper it gets. Or I can embrace it right away and it's fully expensive. The AI is not necessarily going to have a dynamic brain like us where we can just, one day we're going to do it at 80% because of 1,000 set conditions that we see going on in the map. And the other day, we're not going to do it at that. So we're never really truly going to be satisfied. So I just cut it all out with the AI not fucking doing it ahead of time to begin with. So they're really not going to do it. They'll only take out the debt if their neighbors drive it home. So the neighbors become grossly differential in tech to where their tech reduction cost, i.e. neighbor bonus, instead of what I have minus 5%, minus 10%, minus 5%, let's say the AI starts seeing, God forbid, minus 45%, minus 55%, minus 60%, right? They're far behind on mail if it's minus 60%, right? At that point, that fucking AI I have programmed, they're gonna go all hell panic mode, and they're gonna talk to the Iron Bank. They're gonna reach out to the Iron Bank all the way across the fucking sea and tell them they want to take out everything, and that to talk to the fucking whoever.
That's Game of Thrones, right? Yeah. I didn't really recognize it because I don't watch Game of Thrones. I mean, I could, but I'm too bored to get into it.
But literally, that's in that scenario, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna go all out panic mode. If they don't reach those deep of a discount, and let's say hypothetically, they get to the point, let's say just hypothetically, they have maybe 10 or 15% discount. That puts them 15% discount, I believe, don't quote me on this, puts them about 3 techs behind. So
yeah,
let's say
it's I'm pretty sure it's 5% per tech you're behind a neighbor.
Yeah, I should know this because I changed this setting. It's in the mod. The base game doesn't do precise like smaller percentages like 5%. If you guys didn't notice that, it's like the base game is like 10%. But anyway,
I'm pretty sure it is 5%.
If you have the 5% cost.
Yeah, you're a tech behind if it's 5%. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
All right. Well, in any case, I know there's 5% blocks, so you can go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 in the mod. I'm pretty certain it won't be like that in the base game. But in any case, the AI, when they get text behind, that discount gives them an opportunity as they're racking up all this admin and and whatever their monarch points, because they probably don't have food to develop anyway. So they have nothing to do with this monarch points. They might find it where if they don't have the money, the AI notice they have the monarch points. So they might tech up. And if they tech up, they don't have the discount anymore. If they don't have the discount, they won't go into panic mode on embracement. So this will work against itself. So it's almost like a delicate balance of play. So as somebody drives it home by teching up far enough, just one nation, they might not be near whatever other nation. And then as a result, if they still get the discount, they have the monarch points, it all falls into play where they just won't embrace. And we'll see this in this very game. You notice in Italy and in the Netherlands, that works like clockwork just because that's the Renaissance. But watch the rest of the game closely with the Renaissance right now while we're in it.
Imagine it gets to the point where I could calculate exactly approximately what day it will reach a certain percentage of the institution. Like for example, Ming could calculate how long it's going to take the Renaissance to get there.
Yeah.
Kind of scary.
Why? It's saying that I'm not going to get a coalition from this. Why? I took a lot of land for the HOA.
The highest I've seen is 48.
Was all that quote unquote lot of land like one development each?
Probably.
It was like, there's a 5, a 3, a 2. The highest you took, I think, was a 12. Yeah, the highest you took was 12.
To embrace.
So, what's the highest? What's the developmental max at the highest tech level?
At tech 54, it's the 189 or whatever. Here, I'll tell you the exact number again. 196. So that's 196,
not from
196,
manual
196.
development. The max it'll develop manually. I mean, not manually. Through events.
Oh, that's a good question. I'll tell you that. Hold on. That hasn't been changed in a long time. That's still the same that it was when it was before I renamed and split the mods off. So,
why the fuck does Utrecht have to be in a goddamn trading league with Venice?
Because fuck you, obviously.
That's pretty much it. I mean, Venice won't even help him. Venice is 1,300 buckets in debt right now. It's just all his little. Honestly, all his little buddies probably won't even help.
The thing that you missed in all this, I did say I was gonna start working on thinking about how to do that. How to idea.
Hawken. See Alec? No, she's in the fucking league.
I'm pretty sure you heard what I said there.
Yeah, hold on 1 second, Kak. So, all right. Here's what I got to answer that question. You ready?
Okay.
So there is for the events, there's technically, this is technically speaking, all of the events, there's no cap. However, everything's in a balance, so there's a discouragement, which means that you will see a less frequency of firing. If you reach at max, the year is 1950, assuming you play that long, and you're assuming you're 3,100 development or more, right? We're talking a frequency. This is raw, so I'm not factoring in everything. but we're talking a frequency of 360 years on average just for the regular development increase. But it's still going to happen. You're still going to get an increased development. Just your growth is drastically slowed down.
Is it also slowed down for techs that aren't at max?
For what?
Maximum, non-maximum techs. Is it also slowed for those techs, or how does the development max work exactly?
Your country or a particular province gets to a certain size, and then it just discourages events. So if it's the province, then it's only going to impact the province. Understand the events that for the development events, they're tied to the province, not necessarily the country. There are some events tied to the country, but most of them are tied to the province, which gives the country, whether AI or player, ultimately more events or more development or more stuff happening than if it were not tied to the province. But because it is, it also makes it easy where if the province is more or less in like hey, it's big enough, I'm one province, it's already 500 development, we don't need to create a new Tokyo. All right, well, we're going to settle out from developing this, but that doesn't mean the whole country settle out. Maybe the country is like 750 development and one province is 500. Well, okay, that's not to be fair for the rest of the provinces. Maybe they're all 111s. So they're still going to continue developing, but in this case, just the province. But if the whole country is over the 3100, like mentioning, and it's 1950, i.e. you're China, and you're 5,000 development, and you're this big, huge developed country, well, you're gonna just have all of your provinces, even as you conquer more, they're just not gonna develop. A way to undermine this, as a hint, again, it has to do with the country. So we're looking at the country, not necessarily what you take ownership of. So if you were to release or create a new puppet state or whatever, they're a separate country, technically speaking, that's under your realm. So now they are looked at separately than you, which means that you release, a 4-province minor out of your 100 provinces, and they're only 100 development strong. So all of their provinces will get developed probably fast, since they're only 100 development. It's 1950, and the game is going to probably make them really, really overdeveloped because they're only 4 provinces, where the limit's 3,100. Imagine that divided by 4, hypothetically. And then you could take back that country and release 4 new provinces if you really wanted to. It's one way of doing it, but good luck on using whatever Dippo or whatnot to absorb them back. That's going to take you some time.
I once saw Taiwan have 5,000 development. It was pretty scary.
5,000 development.
Wait, Taiwan? Wait, what?
I was playing before the mods got split up. It was extended timeline. And I just looked, and Taiwan has 5,000 development because each of the provinces had somehow developed over 1,000. It was very scary. Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, I bet that was scary.
Yeah, they just invaded mainland China. It's very scary. Totally. Let's ignore the fact that mainland China starts off with 9,000 development. Because I was running at maximum speed, they would usually end up with 15,000. Yeah, 15,000 pretty easily. I'm pretty sure at one time I had run the game long enough for some of the countries to develop over 100,000 development.
Wait, why did the other guy leave?
Yeah, I was just about to ask that.
Sorry, my computer died. I wasn't paying attention to the...
Oh, I would say your country's being overrun by some separatists right now.
Yeah,
I would help, but I have no way of getting there.
I surmise
In my case, I would help, but I may or may not want to see your demise.
yeah.
I'm gonna
You
stop
should
recording
help.
now.
Yeah,